we started off with a physical board game, and we've seen some images on the screen behind us.
Yeah.
But recently we've turned it into an app.
Well, John Zimmer, thank you very much for joining Dukascopy TV today. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. Always a really fun interview and really interesting. And today is no exception. We're going to talk a lot about your game, Rhetoric, which is a public speaking game. But first off, before I get into that, it would be polite. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jack. Thanks very much for having me back. Always great fun to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a bit about your game, Rhetoric. And let's just start off by asking, how can a game about public speaking really improve your public speaking?
Well, I don't think it's any surprise that for a lot of people, public speaking is a big fear. They get very nervous when they have to do it. And so my friend and business partner, Florian Mück, and I, there he is, we decided, we were talking a few years ago, and we realized there's no real game out there that is focused on public speaking. There are some card games and things like that, yes, but there was no board game, none that we saw. And so we thought, why not make public speaking into a game where people can actually have fun while they give speeches? So it's a game that we designed it so people can play it, have fun. We've gamified the whole aspect of public speaking, and what we found, and for me this is really the most rewarding thing, when we were testing the game, when people were playing it for the first time, many people were not surprisingly nervous. First round comes, it's your turn, you draw a card or spin a wheel, you stand up to speak, people are nervous. And they speak for a minute or so, and they sit down, and they realize, hey, the world didn't end. The other players then speak, and pretty soon, their turn comes around again. They don't have much time in between speeches. And so, if they don't have that much time between speeches, there's not that much time to get nervous again. And so they get up again. And about halfway through the game, we see this transformation in people. People are actually jumping up to give their speech. And they're having fun doing it, not even realizing that they're also improving an important skill.
Mm-hmm. So is that one of the key points? Because you've obviously worked with people a lot about improving their public speaking. Is nerves really the number one thing that people can't get over?
It's a big thing for many people. The American comedian Jerry Seinfeld, I love what he said. He said, for many people, they've done surveys, and public speaking is the number one fear. Death is number two. So for many people, if they had to be at a funeral, they'd rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. People get nervous because they think they're going to look silly, or they're going to forget, or they're going to freeze up, or they're going to be judged. There's a number of different reasons. And so by putting public speaking into a game format, by gamifying it, we've taken, at least to a large extent, that whole fear element out. And when people realize that, hey, I can give a speech on a variety of topics without any preparation in this format, why can't I do that in a business format, for example?
Mm-hmm. So this game in particular, is it for a specific audience or really for anyone?
No, it's for anyone. We started off with a physical board game, and we've seen some images on the screen behind us.
Yeah.
But recently we've turned it into an app. And the nice thing about an app is that we can add different languages and different themes. So currently, as of the day of this shooting, there are 6 languages: English, French, German, Spanish, Russian, and Catalan. And we have 3 themes. We have the classic theme, which is the same as the board version, but we also have a family version, because parents have written us saying they love playing with their kids, and we have a business version as well. So they're all up on the app, and you can play whatever version, whatever language you want.
Yeah, I like that, how you bring up that parents and families can play together as well. It's quite refreshing to have an app that is encouraging people to speak to each other rather than everyone sitting on their iPads.
Indeed. And it's nice for kids because there is the iPad element, the tech element, if you will, to it. But ultimately, you have to put the iPad down and stand up and, like you say, just talk to other people, interact with them.
Where do you see this going? Where's the kind of next logical step for this game and this almost sort of a movement of like, as we just discussed, people using the iPad to interact with each other? Where's the next step for you? What do you see? We see
it can go in a variety of directions. We've had a couple of companies license the app from us, which has been great. We've seen it being used in schools, used at different speaking clubs. As far as the development of the app itself is concerned, we want to add more languages, more themes. We'd love to add languages like Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, Portuguese, Italian, other languages. And we'd like to add more themes. There's a travel theme, a comedy theme. There's all kinds of potential for it.
Well, game nerds, if that's a correct term, would be very annoyed with me. If I have the creator of the app here with me, I've got to ask, so what's your biggest tips to playing the game, and essentially like your cheat codes, if it were?
No cheat codes, but for tips, really just have fun. Every time you roll the dice, you're going to have to stand up and speak. So you just tell yourself going in, I'm just going to be given a whole bunch of speeches. Have fun, give the speeches, and then also when the other players are speaking, support them, encourage them, because we designed the game really so that people could improve their own skills, help other people improve their skills, and just have fun in the process. Play with friends, get a bunch of friends over, have a nice bottle of wine beside you, and it's a nice evening.
I imagine it turns into quite a different game after a few bottles.
It can go many directions.
John, thank you so much for speaking with me. It's a real pleasure.
Thanks very much. Always great.
And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview and would like to find out more, head over to dukascopy.tv.